Hello, I'm going to take you through a drawing tutorial, just a very quick portrait tutorial, and just give you a few tips on how to draw a very basic face. So I'll just show you that I've got a few bits and pieces here that I'll be using. This is a sharpener. I've got two kinds of pencils, a 2B and a 6B. So I'll be starting with the 2B, but you could start with the much lighter pencil if you're more comfortable, because the first few shapes that we're going to be doing will be rubbing out later. So you'll have to make sure that those shapes are easy enough for you to rub out, and my very old rubber. Okay, so to start with, let's do a circle. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just an indication of the start of your face, which will make it easier for you to get your proportions right. So I've got myself a very basic circle, and from there I'm going to just do a line right down the center. There we go. It doesn't have to be perfect or very straight. Just something to show you, again, act as a guide for where you're going to put your facial features. So from this point, I'm going to then, using this circle, I'm going to extend out and create a sort of like an egg shape, like this. And that's the basic start of your head. So from the top to the bottom here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find around about the center, which is about there. And this is where your eyes are placed in your head. So I'm going to just do a quick line across like that. And that will act as a guide for where your eyes are going to be. I'll put in another couple of markers now, so between here and here, we'll find about the halfway mark, which is around about here. That's going to be where your nose will sit, and between here and here, I'm going to find another halfway point around about here. And this will be about where your mouth will go. So, to start with, you can do a circle in the middle, and then you can do another circle here on the right hand side and another circle on the left hand side. Try and get them about the same size. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Then what we'll do is we'll just draw in some basic eyes. So I'm going to do a line for the top and a line for the bottom. The bottom line is not as high as the top line. Okay, so from there what I'll do is I'm going to put in some circles. So I'm going to have them touch the top eyelid, because most eyes will go around about there. And this, if you've got an expression that's sort of calm, your eyes will most likely just sit about there. So then you can rub out the top part of that circle because you don't need it. Then I'm going to put in the iris. The iris is here. I'm going to put in the pupil, which is here. So the iris being the coloured part of your eye, and the pupil is the black dot in the middle. So now you can see how the face is coming together. I'm going to move down to our marker down here, and I'm going to start putting the nose in. The nose has a rounded end, and you have nostrils. So you can just use your own judgment on how you want to do that, or you could run lines down here, which will be roughly where the edge of your nose will be. So the basic nose is here, and then we can move down to where the lips would be. And so this might be the bottom of the lips. So I'll do something for the middle and for the top. Now from your pupils, you can run a line roughly down straight, and that will indicate the edge of your mouth. So this being the bottom of the lips, the middle and the top. I'm going to do a line right in the middle of the mouth. And then I'm going to use this point to create the top. I'm going to make the mouth slightly smaller than the top. But if you have a photo that you're working from, or you're using a mirror, you have to try and remember to keep looking at all of the features, and you need to see what your portrait subject looks like very closely. So you might want to always be looking back and checking in on the eyes and the nose and the mouth, just to see what shape that person has or that you have, because everybody is different. So I'm going to do the bottom of the mouth, and then, as you know, there's a little dint just between the top lip and the nose. You can add in some of these little details as well. You might have a little chin area here. That's a different shade. Okay, so we can start to rub out some of these lines just so that you can get an idea on how your face is going to look. Now, the basic shape of the face that we did at the beginning is not going to be what your face looks like, most likely, or your subject's face. So you can draw in what makes more sense to you and what's more like your subject. You might have a wider chin, and you might have cheeks that come out like this. Cheekbones. Try and imagine the bones underneath your face and how they might look. And that's the top of your head up there. So just to make it look a bit more realistic, I'm going to colour in the pupil, leaving a little white dot where the light is coming from, which makes your eyes look more realistic. And then you can do lines for your iris, but everybody's iris looks different. So again, it's something you really need to look at closely. Some people have colours coming out from the iris, from the pupil, and some people have very dark eyes. Something you can look at closely. So if we're going to do some eyebrows, maybe use your eyes just as an indicator of where they might start. Are they arched like this, or are they very straight? Again, something you can look at. Try and do both sides the same. Do you have a crease above your eye? You might have a crease that's around about here. You can start to get rid of these lines in the middle. And this is where you can start to have a lot of fun with your face, trying out shading, and getting the shapes the way you want. So you might put in some nostrils here. You might bring the nose all the way around. You might have the bridge of your nose starting to be shaded in. try and consider where the light is coming from. And you might want to start using your darker pencil. I'm using the 6B to really put in some of the stronger details here. And the shading. Again, this is just a really quick portrait to show you what you could do. Okay, you can also add in some eyelashes, which are often all over the shop. Again, look at those very closely, because sometimes we think eyelashes are just one way, but they really go straight up and to the sides. And then with your lips, you might want to add in your smile. And how that looks. Maybe you have thicker lips and you can start to build that shading. And the bottom of the eye. And remember, eyes aren't flat, they're round. So you want to add in some shading here as well to help show that eyes are rounded. There we go. So just very quickly, your hair, how does your hair look? You can give your hair some body, which means you can make it look bigger. You can just block your hair in like this. I've got longer hair, so I'm making my hair look long, and I don't have a fringe. Now with your ears, you can use the lines from your eyes and your nose just to add in your ears, which are from the eye guideline right down to the nose guideline. And we'll do the ears. You might cover them over with your hair. So I'm blocking out my hair like this because I have long wavy hair. Now your neck will just be an extension and a curve down from your cheek, which would be about here. Everybody has a slightly different neck and face. Some people have long necks and some people have short. Again, it's just something you really need to look at very closely when you're doing a portrait. And you might need to practice a couple of times. It might not be perfect the first time, but that's okay. There we go. I hope that's helped you get started on your portrait, and we can't wait to see what you come up with.